Good day, my friends. Good day. I hope everyone is ready to go, and I hope you are paying attention and focusing on what is happening right this moment, because this is so critical. And I want everyone listening to focus on what matters. This may be one of the most difficult things for people to suggest, but I want you to work on focus. Help me in helping people focus. What is the issue? What are we talking about? What are the advantages? Let's not go off into the woods. Let me explain something. You can talk about something within a particular realm of something. There is a range where you can show incredible variation and variability within the range of subject matter, but that doesn't mean you're off. Everything is not woke. Ask yourself the question, am I repeating myself? Am I saying things that, am I becoming a cliche? I'm hearing this all the time. Everything is not woke. Woke is not your answer for everything. Woke is a crutch. Woke is a crutch. Conspiracist lingo is a crutch. Controlled opposition, distraction. You know what it is. You can just say something. The other day, I was on yesterday with my dear friend, my great buddy, Anthony Cumia. And I said, isn't it interesting how Governor of New York, Kathy Hochul, was predicting the other day, Wednesday, you're going to see more smoke. How does she know this? How does she know this? How do you know when it's going to come? Is there an answer? That question doesn't mean, aha, it's an inside job. The question is very simple. What? How does she know this? How do people know this? How are they aware of this? And it doesn't necessarily begs the, and I'm going to use these terms, conspiratorial, just as it doesn't help when you always think that everything has an answer. Next, don't use the phrase Occam's razor. If you use the term Occam's razor, it's invariably wrong. It's invariably wrong. Occam's razor is not a mindset. It's not a theory. It's a way of applying analysis. You're using it too much. I'm hearing Occam's razor. You can't go through a drive-through at Wendy's without somebody talking about Occam's razor. It's a crutch. Don't fall prey to the crutch. Next, find out, and I started off with this, make sure you understand what the issues are. They're going to try to confuse you. When you watch the opposing side, it's very important. Get an idea. Look at what they are doing. I have a hard time explaining this to people, but I'll do my best. CNN is not the subject matter. We have become to the point of CNN crazy because people love to talk about CNN because they hate CNN. It's personal to them. If you are one of these people, you are losing the battle, you are losing the effort, you are losing your mind. Do not be one of these people that always talks about CNN because it's kind of like a mean girls thing. What do I mean by that? Petty obstinacy, anger over personalities. I heard yet again the biggest, the one of the biggest cons, and I'm seeing it right now, and believe me when I'm saying this, you go crazy. Tucker did this absolute obvious statement of obvious in his seventh, just 7. I would be putting out 5 a day. You can't keep people with 7. His 7th, I think it was 7th. And he refers to Anthony Blinken, I think, and Victoria Nuland, again as flabby. Stop focusing on looks. Stop going for the ad hominem. Stop it. It's I'm going to say something to you. Listen to me, because everybody's into this. It's unmasculine. All right? Take it for what it's worth. We're into this weird, I've always talked about homoeroticism for the longest time, but nobody wants to hear me because they think, oh, come on. crypto homoeroticism. Bobby Kennedy Jr. walking around, look at me without a jacket or without a shirt. Zuckerberg wants to fight. He and Lex Friedman, they're wrestling each other. What is this? Do you think this is hyper? Two people trying their best to say, see, I'm a man. See, I'm tough. See, look, I can do a rear naked choke. What is this? You are seeing the devolution of men into little boys, thinking, is this what it is? Is this what you're supposed to do? I'm going to give you a statistic that's going to blow your mind. It's going to blow your mind. Emergency room physicians are reporting more and more that young girls in particular are coming in with violent injuries, being choked out. And by the way, when you choke somebody out, let me remind you of something, all of you MMA geniuses out there. When you choke somebody out, whenever there is any moment of unconsciousness, it is not good. It won't kill you necessarily, but stop this. What this Marine, Daniel Penny, is going to find out is that his issue, his sole issue is, why didn't you let this man go? When he stopped moving, because you're charged with reckless homicide, which is what second-degree manslaughter is. How do you explain this? See, we're into this whole thing about fighting and these punks like that miserable vermin Conor McGregor, who should be in prison. This is masculinity? This is a man? This is where we are today? Let's go and wrestle? Are you kidding me? Is this what it's down to? I don't understand. Now, when I tell people this, I can tell right away when I'm on target, because I get that look. And when I get that look, I'm right. And it's the look of, I don't know what you're talking about, which means I'm right. We are losing our way in terms of maturation, in terms of being, relevant. I don't know what the word is, but we've got to go out there and spread the word. Everybody now is gender, and we're acting like fools. And we're seeing a bunch of little boys going out there pretending to be real tough and thinking that boxing and fighting and weightlifting and this is masculine, right? Right? Is this what you call it? Is this what you're supposed to call it? We've lost our way. I was talking with Anthony yesterday. I said, what exactly is this? What does it mean to be a man? How do you explain this? What does it mean to be a man? It's the hardest question that nobody has ever asked. When somebody says, when you tell your little boy, come on, quit crying, be a man. What does that mean? It means be mature. It means being an adult. What do you tell a woman? What do you tell a girl? Hey, stop crying, be a woman? No. We have these idealized things that we say regarding what a man is, what a woman is. And a man is this idea of toughness. Okay, that's great. What about women? Well, we don't tell women that. Why not? Well, because we don't care. What do you mean you don't care? Well, women aren't supposed to be tough. Who says they're not supposed to be tough? What are you talking about? In many respects, women are more tough. Everybody knows this. You see how we are? You see how silly we are? Listen to this stuff. It's everywhere. We're very confused. We have lost our way, my friends. We have lost our way. We have been in the position where we don't know anymore what is happening. We are so in need of direction and redirection, it's not even funny. Now, when you watch something, if you're interested in watching, and I do this just to see, what is CNN saying? Why is that? Why is that important? Why is CNN, MSDNC, whatever, why is it important? It's important because that tells you, specifically, that tells you the official storyline of the opposition party. This is what they think is important. The other day it was Prigozhin. They are losing the Russian narrative like you cannot believe. That one made no sense. And if you listen to anything I said, if you listen to a second, you cannot believe the absolute, as you would say, the hilarity of this. Prigozhin went in as a mutineer, and as he left, was met with applause. Yay! Thank you! Stop right there. The narrative's falling apart. So I wanted to see, what's CNN saying? They're missing it. They're saying, Putin's falling apart. Wait a minute. His number one enemy is being celebrated for leaving. I think you've got it all wrong. That's as much time as I want to spend on it. What Tucker Carlson is, and it's interesting to know this, is interesting because you are fixated on him. I only bring him up because that's not the direction we're going. He is nothing but a producer, a presenter of the obvious, the profoundly obvious, stretched out into a 4-minute, whatever it is, very nicely woven together phrases about a women's studies major from Oberlin College, the typical snark. There is so much crypto. How do I say this? There are so many issues regarding Tucker Carlson. If you can't see it, I can't help you with that. When you live through life, you got to ask yourself, what am I learning along the way? What have I learned? What have I learned? Have I learned how to read people? When you pick a jury, when you're stopped by a cop, when you've dealt with professors or students or parents or neighbors or politicians, bosses, people in the media, have you ever been on TV? What have you learned? What have you learned along the way? I'm seeing it every day. I'm seeing variations on this. I'm also seeing something that heritage media is crumbling before your very eyes. Did you hear what I just said? Heritage media is crumbling before your very eyes. It is the most wonderful thing. I talked to a friend of mine yesterday. He's in the radio business. Radio stations in New York that used to be the biggest billers nationwide are making nothing. And when you notice this, understand, what does that mean? This is the most important moment in informational platforms ever. What you're seeing right now. Next, do you know what people need more than anything else? They need leadership. They need courage. They need support. They need a family. They need somebody to look up to. They need somebody to say, you're going to be okay. You're going to make this. Here's how you do this. This is one of the biggest messages that anybody, and no politician is doing it. America right now is suffering from a sense of, I don't know what the word is, maybe a lack of confidence. If you don't have confidence in yourself, you will never succeed. Too much confidence is delusional. If you don't understand your own talent, if you don't feel good about yourself, and every parent, all you have to do is say, understand something, we're going to let you go into the world. You might not be able to do everything you'd like to do. If you'd like to be an athlete, you may not be a great athlete. You may not be whatever. You may not be the best singer. You may not be, in their eyes, the most attractive person. Whatever it is. But deep down, in your core, in your soul, in your frame of reference, there is nobody better on this planet than you. And you can do virtually anything you put your mind to. That is the most important. If you empower a kid with that, they're on their way. They're on their way. It starts with that. And I see more people. Why do you think people get all this plastic surgery? Why do you think people get all these tattoos? Why do you think people have abandoned their own sense of self? Why? When somebody goes on and always makes fun, think about this Tucker thing. Why is he always making fun of people? The way they look. They made fun of Brian Stelter's voice. Listen, I got news for you right now. Not everybody has the stentorian, pipes that I do, my Robert Goulet delivery. But Tucker Carlson is not exactly Richard Tucker either. Or Vern Gosden, you wouldn't know that. But anyway, so why does somebody jump the gun by acting petty and snarky and mean girlish? Why? Why is that? Why do people have to say, I'm running for president, so I'm going to show people, look at me, I'm doing push-ups. Stop right there. Do you see what's happening? Can you imagine John Kennedy Jr. showing you I'm doing push-ups? Can you? George W. Bush, was a great athlete. He had a resting pulse of 10. He was almost in a coma. He never did that. Probably one of our most athletic presidents ever was Gerald Ford. Whizzer White, Byron White, Supreme Court Justice, I think he was a pro football player. They never did that. They never did that. The most you'd see is, look, maybe I'm playing golf. And JFK had a beautiful swing. Beautiful. A golf swing, a beautiful golf swing is something that you've never, it's just a work of art. They never did that. John Kennedy had more women. Of course, now the sexual encounters may have lasted 30 seconds, and it may have been almost to the point of being demented. But he didn't even want you to know. You couldn't say anything about it. He didn't want you to know this. If you said this, you never were invited back to the White House. Today, they'd be telling you. What happened to it? You know what? It's self-esteem. It's self-esteem. It's the most incredible thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm looking around, I'm seeing it all over the place. You want to see a front and center? Carrie Lake. Look at that. Ladies, you'll get it. I don't think the men get it. Look at her. Frosted glass, the frosted look. Please stop it. Look at what's happening. Look at what's passing. And by the way, I'm going to do one thing too. I want to take this streaming world out there and divide it up into news people and to podcasters. And I want to do something to say, young people, stop talking with this uptick, these croaks. Stop sounding like you're 12 years old. Stop it. Stop sounding like you're 12 years old. I can't say it enough. I can't put it into words. Stop it. Why? Because you have no idea what an adult is. They're so busy worried about what is a man, what is a woman, they don't know what an adult is. What is an adult? You're 35 years old. What's the matter with you? What's going on? What's happening? Do you understand what this is? And it goes back to what I'm saying before. We need a boot camp. We need to take people during summers and say, let me explain to you how to do this thing. Here's how we do. Where do you get your news from? And if you find yourself in one particular area, stop. You're missing it. This isn't like music. You can listen to only Motown, and that's great. That's fine. You can only eat one thing. That's fine. But if you think one thing only, you're deadly. Now, the subject of today's dissertation is the DNC is scared witless with Bobby Kennedy Jr. and Biden dematerializing. Now, let me also explain something to you. Again, and I say this to you because it goes to show you what I'm saying. There's a meanness. Tucker Carlson, because you love him, and I'm bringing him up because every time I say, I use him as an example. The one to watch, the people who are the most important for the future are not going to be these folks who are caught up in particular their mind. I don't know what you want to call them. Oh, please, by the way, we need your likes. I need 400 likes. We have been doing wonderfully great. Well, time out because of your algorithms. I want people to go out and I want people to listen. I want people to watch our show and say, you got to hear this. These people, yeah, they're not usual. Well, what is he? I don't know. Is he a conservative? I guess. Is he a liberal? I don't know. He's pro-choice, against the death penalty, but wants to televise it. I don't understand what's going on here. That's exactly what I want to hear. That's exactly what I want to hear. That's exactly what I want to hear. I want to strip you down. I want to take every label you have, every label, and I want to just make you start from the beginning and tell you this is what's happening right now. And I said something the other day, and I said it the other day, and let me ask you something. How many times have I told you the next president of the United States is going to be Gavin Newsom? I've been talking about Gavin Newsom forever. I saw it coming. It's now Tucker Carlson, Gavin Newsom. You just figured this out, Tucker? You just figured it out. Where have you been? It's Gavin Newsom. Yes, we know that. It's Gavin Newsom. Yes, I understand. It's Gavin Newsom. Yes. And he is going to be the next president. Because if they can make Joe Biden come up with 81 million votes, it's no sweat for Gavin Newsom. And if you haven't figured that out by now, and well, Bobby Kennedy Jr. should maybe be thinking about this. Let me tell you something that's interesting. There was a story that happened. You know, I just did a, the problem with the symbolism. It's my only imitation of a guy nobody knows. I said, who's this? And people, I don't know. He's a Serbian philosopher. Anyway. One day I'm going to say to myself, the guy who's let me down more than anybody else, the man who devolved into I don't know what, is Alex Jones. Alex Jones used to be the go-to. He didn't see what happened. He collapsed personally under the weight of who he was and what was going on. He took it personally. God knows what they've been. Here's a story. Whatever happened to his 2.7 trillion dollars. What is this? How much does he owe? He owns the entire circulated money stock of what? What are we talking about? Why are we? Have you seen this? He was so smart, so good, so great. And now he lost his mind. He looks unhealthy. He looks so monumentally unhealthy. And maybe it's the pressure. But a while back, everybody made this joke. Go, yeah, Alex Jones. You mean the gay frogs? He talked about atrazine. National Geographic. Previous research has shown that atrazine can give male amphibians female characteristics. For instance, male frogs exposed to atrazine have lower testosterone levels, produce less sperm, and even change their mating habits by choosing males over females. Now this is out there, but because Alex Jones said it, it sounded crazy. And what Alex Jones used to do, which was really smart, was he would always say, well, here's my story. Here's my story. This is where I get this from. And the other day, Bobby Kennedy, who was talking to that absolute bombast and blowhard Jordan Peterson, that I just cannot listen to very popular, very important, bombastic. Again, anybody, irrespective, I will say this, whether you've got 20 million viewers or 3. He's a bombast. He is somebody who has just said, I'm going to be a philosopher. And people are buying it. Why? It goes back to what I said, because people are rudderless. They're leaderless. They don't have anybody to believe in. They need somebody to tell them. It used to be religion. I need 400 likes. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. Get off your keisters. People need somebody to say, tell me what the truth is. Tell me. Stand up straight. Be a lobster. Whatever the hell that is. I don't even know what it is. Look, if it works for you, great. I was lucky. I always had a strong family. I know what I believe in, and reality is my best guide. That's it. It's like, I can't tell you. Reality is my best guide. That's all. I'm a realist. And I've said that to the point, and God bless John Mearsheimer for bringing up realism. I tell you, I'm keeping it real. I tell you the way things are, not the way things should be. I deal with the way things are. And Alex Jones was talking about this forever. And they laughed at him. Well, the other day, Bobby Kennedy says the same thing, and now they're not laughing. And the thing that Bobby Kennedy has to do is to maintain that ability for him to be listened to. And I'm telling you right now, this is what I'm worried about for him, because I want him to succeed. I'm doing this. My nose. I want him to succeed. First of all, don't fall prey to this typical Kennedy thing. This is what scares me. Okay? He's out there and he has this fawny. He's 60. No, what am I saying? He's almost 70 years old. He's doing this. I'm walking around doing push-ups. So he's feeling maybe like he's in midlife crisis. Maybe he's got to show you how strong he is. Maybe he's doing hormones. I don't know. PEDs. I don't know what he's doing. But that's not normal. When you're 70 years old, you don't put on muscle mass. I'm sorry. I don't want to break it to you. Maybe you didn't know this, but it's true. So what that means is somebody who's going through. Now, when you go through this is interesting. Listen to me carefully. When you find yourself in the position of playing around with hormones, you can sometimes trick yourself into going into this what is almost like a fake form of puberty all over again. And when you're in puberty, you act like a damn fool. One of the reasons why they knew Mark McGuire was going through something was he had acne on his back. That's that classic. I need 400 likes. Come on, folks. 235. You can do it. I need your help. I'll do my part. You do your part. It's a deal, right? Do we have a deal? We have a deal? Good. I'm doing it again. This is what scares me. Bobby Kennedy's out there, and he's feeling whatever. And all of a sudden, he sees these wide-eyed 20-something. Oh, I love you. You're our hero. Oh, it's Bobby Kennedy. Yes, it's me. Typical bait for a Kennedy male. This is a guy who wrote about his conquest. Now remember, the person you were before, it doesn't go away. You tamp it down. Maybe you accentuate it. Sometimes do it in reverse. Sometimes you say, the old me that used to be powerful and used to be confident and guess what? That guy ain't here anymore, but he's back. Whatever. So sometimes you want to rekindle this, but sometimes you want to tamp things down. And this is what worries me. This is a guy who, for the longest time, when you have your father murdered, the other day they showed a picture of him. He's talking to somebody. It has a thumbnail between him. I swear to God, you can see it between him and whoever the hell it was. Jordan Peterson, or I don't know who the hell it was. They showed a picture of his father with a bullet in his head on the ground at the Ambassador Hotel in Los Angeles. Somebody did this. Somebody on a thumbnail had a picture as he's talking with his father dying with a bullet in his head, which came from a distance that is completely insignificant with the Sirhan story. But nobody's going to go into that because we don't want to be a conspiracy theorist. Anyway, this is where we are. There was this half-ass cable show the other day who had a countdown for the oxygen in that Titan sub. This is the mentality of people. There's no decorum. There's no sense of rational thinking anymore. None. So he's going to go out there. I hope he's got a handler. Just like, a lot of these celebs in rehab, these celebs who are drug addicts or whatever, they have people who follow them. Part of the deal is if you want to make a movie, you got to get your money in the back end. You got to have insurance. If you can get an insurance policy on you, and you have these minders, these people that follow you like you can't believe, almost like cult minders. And I'm afraid he might fall into that. And this Cheryl Hines, his wife, I don't think she has any idea of what being a Kennedy is, especially this guy, because they're going to come at him like you cannot believe. And they're going to come at Joe Rogan like you can't believe. Look what they did to Tucker. Look what they did to Anheuser-Busch. Look what's going on here. Do you recognize who the enemy is? Do you recognize this? Are you following this? Does this make any sense to you? Are you getting this? I'm not saying things just for the sake of saying things. I'm telling you the truth because I want you to be smart and I want you to know what's going on here. We are in the fight of our lives right now. We are against something that nobody has ever seen. It doesn't have any corollary. Look at me. Do you hear what I'm saying? Nothing has any sort of, there's no comparison. And the best part is, I don't think people get it. They don't get it. They don't understand it. They don't understand it. I can see it. I'm reading. I can see it. You don't get it. You don't understand it. You don't understand it. And one of the things, too, which is funny, this is important, too. I've got to know sometimes that you've been too lucky. 276 likes. I need 400. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. You've had it too lucky as an American. You've had it too lucky. You've always been the tops. You've always been number one. You've always had the most money and the best military and the best everything. Everybody wanted to be you. Do you think the world wants to be us now? Do you think when you look at the world, do you think people want to be us? Do you think that we're the bastion of freedom, the leaders of cool? Look at us. Look at what's happening right now. Do you think so? Nope. Look at the pictures yesterday from this that great journalist Lancaster, who's fantastic, by the way. I always forget his name. He is absolutely, I have such respect for him. One of the best true journalists ever. Yes, Lancaster. His name is, yes, Patrick Lancaster. This is a guy who is just without peer. Without peer. And I cannot say this enough. He is without peer. He is without comparison. Nobody, but nobody is like he is. Nobody. Nobody. Do you understand what I'm saying? Nobody. He's out there doing stuff and he's there. And when you're in Rostov-on-Don, whatever this city was, and you realize these people look just like us. And the young people look just like us. And they got their phones. And they got their this. And they may speak Russian. Or they may speak this. But they look just like us. They're doing cool without our help. And it must be tough for you to realize we're not the cool kids anymore in the world. We're not. Everybody thinks we're great. No, we're not. There's a wonderful, have you ever seen this? I discovered this woman. She is great. Her name is, for the love of God. This YouTube is so fantastic. Lay's Real Talk. L-E-I. Real Talk. She's Chinese. Are 200 million Chinese jobless? I don't know if she's Intel. I don't know who she is. I have no idea. This is one of the best. It is the best tutorial on China ever. And one of the things people know is to understand the mindset of how people think. Remember what I've always told you. It's about psychology. It's not about what's right and wrong and who's right. It's about understanding the psychology of this. Look at this. Someone wrote, Trump Lake 2024. This is when I realize we are depraved and deprived of rationality. There is a human being who actually wants that self-absorbed, solipsistic, egomaniac, phony baloney, Carrie Lake as your vice president. There's somebody who, despite everything that's going on, as we're trying to get out of this mess, you want 4 years of Trump. Now, I've already explained to you about Trump. This is what we're seeing right now. We are children. People who like our children, or act like children, like we have our favorite Beatle, who have no idea of what they're doing, no idea about when you're eating something, but it tastes good, but it's going to hurt you. But other people no, we don't think that way. Bradley Opland, what do you think of a Kennedy Newsom ticket? Are you kidding me? You can't be serious. Thank you for that. I'm surprised that you could even write that some kind of the world would allow you to even put that together, Bradley. Kennedy Newsom. I'm going to say you were just being piquant and provocative. This is the end of the party system. Do you understand what Gavin Newsom is? Gavin Newsom is a mouthpiece for the shadow government. I'm going to say this again. I'm going to try it again. I'm going to try my best. The only reason that they're accelerating this is because Bobby Kennedy came in. And yes, Joe Biden is caving. I want you also to remind the world of something. By the way, we're doing better. We have 300 likes. Yes, we need 100 more. Yes, you're doing a great job. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I want you to say today, whenever you are out, whenever you talk to your friends, always be an apostle for peace, apostle for truth. Remember this. This is not about Biden's age. Say it again. This is not about Biden's age. Tucker Carlson, I watched this thing. Everybody's saying, did you see this? I said, okay, let me see this. His 7th? Oh, he's talking, when people get older. No. It's not being older. That's not it. It usually is, but that's not it. It's not it. You know, sometimes there are extremely overweight people who have good blood pressure and decent LDL values. It happens. It's not the norm, but it happens. So see what Tucker's also doing is he makes this mistake. And I use him as an example because you can learn from this. When you walk through life, you always think you're going to be at this position. You always think you're going to be 35 years old or cool, or everybody around you is old or young. Or, not you, but you're on a conveyor belt as well. You are. And you're on this conveyor belt as you make it towards death. And you always think that you're not in that group. These kids today, these old people. And then when you move into that older people, well, maybe I'm not that old or whatever it is. So it's not about age. Let me say this again. Alan Dershowitz is what, 85? Chomsky, I don't know how old he is, but I don't even understand what the hell he's saying. He looks like a hostage video, doesn't he? Let this man go. It's not his age. Joe Biden, for whatever reason, it's not well. He can't follow sentences. He can't read. He's not there. And it's not anything personal. It's not to slam older people. It's the truth. It's not about his age. I'm saying it again. It's not about his age. So they realize either way, he can't do it. People want debates. We live in a world right now where everybody debates everybody. So Bobby Kennedy comes in and just accelerated everything. Remember what I'm saying. Park this idea. Watch what they do to Rogan and watch what they do to Bobby Kennedy. They want a Rogan scalp, or literally a scalp, more than anything you can imagine. Did you see Fink the other day from BlackRock? He said, let's don't use ESG anymore. It's taken on a negative connotation. You don't understand how bloodthirsty they are. They want him. They would love nothing more than to take this guy out because they've already targeted him as being some kind of the mindless dupe of the right. Do you hear what I'm saying? Does this make sense to you? And I'm not even going to ask whether you're registered to vote. I'm not even going to ask that. I'm not even going to. If anybody is not registered to vote. Oh, and one more thing. I forgot to tell you this. Joe Biden got 81 million votes, right? You believe that? You believe that? Tell me. You believe that? I don't. I don't know what happened. I don't believe it. I'll never believe that one. And you've got to be a damn fool to believe that. But that's okay, and that's moot, and that's another story. So let me ask you something. What do you think the Republicans have done to make sure that doesn't happen? Nothing. 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 Do they have their bastions and battalions and brigades and divisions of election lawyers standing by? No. Have they targeted those areas of the country where the problems are? No. Have they? No. No, 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 no. And if I didn't know better, they don't want to win. If I didn't know better, they're in on it. You want to talk about conspiracy theories? The Republicans love being the complainers. They love it. They would much rather, Ted Cruz would much rather be talking down about something than talking about what a great job he did. And that phony baloney Josh, what's his name, Josh? Hawley? Josh Hawley, yes. And Blackburn, I haven't seen too much of her. And John Kennedy and the usual suspects. This is a joke. This is a joke. We don't have parties. We have nothing. We have two sides of the same coin. It's ridiculous. And the best thing that can happen is simply this. Number one, Bobby Kennedy gets more votes than anybody. And Bobby Kennedy says, wait a minute. And Bobby Kennedy is our Bernie Sanders, which is weird. Bernie Sanders, they crushed. Bernie Sanders, I admired Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders was legitimate. God, my nose. Bernie Sanders, as leftist and democratic socialist as you want. Bernie Sanders, come on, I need 400 likes. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. Bernie Sanders was absolutely, positively the most, and I will say this again, Bernie Sanders was the most authentic, different, and he always was that way, and he wasn't, and I respected that. And they crushed him. And the young people will realize that they pushed him out of the way to put in that bat Hillary. And the young people never forgot it, and they learned the lesson. Bobby Kennedy is that kind of new version, but he's not Bernie. He is really more our speed. You see, let me explain this. Bobby Kennedy, if anything else, is a realist. That's really the term. He's a person who says, I care about what's true and what's actual. And if that comports or violates the rules of a particular accepted political ideology, so what? It started with the environment, and it talks about science. There is nobody, anybody, anywhere, seriously, anybody who doesn't have strong thoughts about vaccines and pandemics, whatever. Believe me, you're never going to know what happens until the next time it occurs. People talk a good game, but you're not going to understand anything until the next time it happens. And Bobby Kennedy and Marty McCary and other great people said, wait a minute, this is interesting. Oh, there were some other crackpots who just came across. They're not crackpots. They say some things. They kind of have the Alex Jones effect. You know, when he was talking about, atrazine, and there's Alex Jones goes, "They're gonna make a frog gay." Now when you hear this, you're gonna say this man is a nut, and the idea is that of a nut. When I say no, it's not. Let Bobby Kennedy say it. Why is there such a high suicide rate? Why do you think there is such a high mental illness rate? Bobby Kennedy said it. It was very smart. Don't tell us about it because it was sheltered. Stop it. You know what kids had to go through during World War II? During the Nazis bombing and German bombing when London and oh come on. Don't just quit going for these trite, packaged, very simple ideas. Well, it was because of the fact that they were sheltering and they had to wear a mask and they couldn't see each other. Really? Are we that? What? weak? You make us wear a mask at school and we're going to lose our minds? Is that what you think? Well, when you already have a completely destroyed group of people that happen to be the victim of a lot of other psychiatric medication and that happen to be a part of these, these games that completely destroy and take away the ability to focus. But you take all of this stuff together and look what you get. But I digress, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting close to 400. Listen to me right now. The DNC, the Democrats, the Democratic National Convention, the Democratic Party is scared witless. Witless. Because things are changing differently. And they're changing for the worse. And they're going to also start realizing and understanding the fact that Bobby Kennedy represents an existential threat to their dreams. Believe me, he just upset the apple cart. And let me also tell you something, and you got to recognize this fact right now. And believe me when I tell you this. Something has to be done on the part of either the Republican Party or the Independent Party or whoever it is. Because we have to recalibrate and refocus and reattend ourselves to reality. Pay attention to this. Know what to look for. Know what's going on. What you're seeing right now has never been seen or witnessed in recent history. Believe me, it is above and beyond anything, and you've got to know what to watch. Look at the Prigozhin story. Look at the Prigozhin story. See the way it's being stated. Watch what the shadow government sock puppet media are talking about today. The tape recording of Donald Trump. They are desperate. Desperate. Remember, the sooner Donald Trump says, I'm not going to run, there goes all that. There goes the concern. But he's not going to run. Yeah, but he's not going to run. The only reason this has any interest is because he's running. And he's not going to win. He's not going to win, and he's going to destroy the Republican Party. But you'll see that before you know it. You dig? Good, I hope so. It's very important. Very, very, very important. Now, a couple of things here. You were very, very good about this. Mrs. L is putting out information that is so, oh my God. The information that we are seeing, what has happened to our children, our family, is like nothing you have ever seen or I have ever seen, ever. I have never seen anything even remotely as devastating to children. This is her subscription YouTube channel. Just click this and you subscribe. You don't have to do anything. Just it makes it real easy for you. That's it. Lynn's Warriors on YouTube. See what's going on with your kids. Whether you have kids, had kids, want to have kids, it doesn't matter. Because kids aren't going to remain kids for the rest of their lives. Again, it's that Tucker thing. People think only within the confines of their age group. No, this is an assembly line. Those kids are going to have kids. Those are the leaders. I know it sounds like it's like a Whitney Houston song, but it's true. So pay attention to this. All right, dear friends, thanks so much. Have a great and a glorious and a wonderful day. See you tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, same bad channel. Until then, remember these words. The monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Ta-ta.